What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. This video today is going to be different. Okay. I was asked recently by a subscriber, hey, why don't you do a story on so-and-so, right? I'm not going to say the guy's name. I'm going to try not to. I'm going to be honest with you. This is the second time I'm recording this because I slipped and said his name. So I'm starting over. But he says, why don't you do a video on that guy when he was in New Folsom? And I responded with, that story doesn't end well, so I'd rather not. But it's stuck in my mind. Because, when I tell these stories about prison, I want to have a message. I want to give people a glimpse into the brutality and the viciousness of prison. I want to give people a glimpse into the snakiness of prison and the cold realities so that people do not think that prison is a place where cool cats go. When actually all the dudes that were cool as fucking junior high and high school, of course, none of us ever graduated high school. We were too cool for that, right? That's what prison's full of, cool cats. So anyways, another reason why I wanted to tell this story is because for California, this is a very unique story, especially if you're Mexican. Very unique, very rare. That being said, let's get to it. Before I get into that story itself, those of you that have seen the video I did about the homie Shanks, the homie that died in the riot in B facility in New Folsom in 1996, the cops killed him. You remember that I told him part of the story was while he was in Ad Seg, some shit jumped off in Ad Seg, where he could have lost his life. Well, that's part of this story as well. So let's get to it. So this dude, we're going to call him Monster. I'm going to try to remember to call him Monster. Okay. It's not his real name. But he was a big dude, very muscular dude, big whip, try to carry himself as if, he was the boogeyman, I guess we'll call him, right? And so one day, now I want to let you know, let's be clear. I wasn't in that seg when it happened. I was still on B facility. But news travels when shit like this jumps off, right? So what had happened was it was after the rutina, after the exercise, everybody's, playing handball, doing whatever they're doing on the little concrete yard. This was the southern white yard or white southern yard, whatever, however you guys want to say it, right? Monster was there. There were two woods there that were Sellies, a couple other vatos. It was just a handful of, just a handful of dudes just kicking it on the side of the handball court on the yard. One of the woods, well, I don't know. I'm going to say one of the whites because I don't know if he was a skin or a wood, right? He bends down to do something with, I don't know if it was with his sock or his shoe, whatever it was. When he does that, Monster decides that he's going to horseplay with that guy's Sally. So he reaches over, and you know that right here, how when you pinch it, it hurts. Well, that's what he decides to do. Again, remember, that white guy's Sally is bent down, messing with his shoe or his sock or whatever. Monster reaches over and pinches his heart, playing with him. That white guy jumps back. Imagine what his Sally saw. The white dude jumps back, grabs right here, and he's like, ah! His Sally did exactly what he was supposed to do. He spun around, and he punched Monster dead in his fucking mouth. Boom! Monster lands flat on his ass, legs straight out like this, and he's just like stuck. Vato said they were looking at him like, the fuck you doing, right? And Monster was like looking around, and he looked at the white dude that hit him, and he spit out his two front teeth. When he did that, a southerner fired on the dude that fired on Monster. Immediately, the whole yard went. Boom. It's going down now. Whites and southerners are now going at it on the yard. The gunner is dumping into the yard, shooting rounds into the yard. The block. I don't think they used the mini on that one. I'm not sure. But they're just dumping the block guns in there. Boom, 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 boom. And when the dust settled, everybody went back to the cell, figured out what it was. It was because Monster decided to play horseplay. You're not supposed to horseplay, period. But then he's horseplaying outside of his race, right? So whatever happened at that time happened as far as what they did with Monster on B yard. It was just, what is it? So does it follow suit out here? No, it was a misunderstanding. Everything's good. Okay, boom. So that's who that idiot is. Okay. Now, I wind up in that state. I wind up on the same yard group with this guy. And again, like I said, that's one thing in prison. You can only be bulldozed if you allow a motherfucker to bulldoze you. But when you meet someone and you meet their energy, then they understand, like, okay, not this one, right? And he was one of those that, they're going to test, how far can I go with this cat? How can I talk to him? And, like I said, you meet him with the same respect and the same energy. Then they understand, like, okay, this guy's not going to let me do that. So that was my, when I met him, how we interacted, it was like, take it somewhere else, player. And I didn't really ever have conversations with him. Didn't like his demeanor or the fact that he thought his physicality was impressive. Just didn't matter. The equalizers in there always work a whole lot better than your just muscle, right? So anyways, the 96 riot kicks off. Boom. We're still back in that SIG, right? When that jumps, they slammed every facility in New Folsom, even the Ad Sags and Old Folsom briefly. Now, Ad Sag, we were slammed down. No yard. Nothing. I believe it was 3 months. Now, doing that in Ad Sag, they can get away with stuff you can't get away with in the shoe. In the shoe, they have to give you yard, right? They have to give you that hour and a half or that hour. In Ad Sag, they don't. Emergency lockdown, state of emergency. So we weren't getting shit. Some people are not. Well, let me say this. Human beings are not built to be confined. We are social beings. People adapt to solitude in prison because you have to. But there are those that a certain amount of solitude fucks their head up. They don't like who they are. And when they're stuck in the cell, they're forced to be in here. A lot of people can't do that. So one day, this was, the homie that I did the story on who lost his parent. I'm cellies with him. And we are close to the corner pocket, the bottom tier door that leads from B section into C section. Monster was in C section. We hear a faint cry for help. Help! Help! You don't hear that in prison. I think I only heard that 2 times from out in a cell. Somebody screaming. I think. And we're like, hey, what the fuck is that? Who's that? Help. Help. What the fuck? And somebody's like, man, I think that's a homie. They're like, man, he's fucking man down. Is he by himself or something? So the Judas wind up running in there. And allegedly, this is what happened. Monster decided that he was going to fuck his celly. And he attacked him, and he beat him, and beat him, and beat him. And that vato started screaming for help. Somehow the Judas heard him. We could barely hear him. Somehow the Judas heard him. Of course, Monster's story wasn't that he was trying to rape him, but they had neighbors that heard what was going on in there. So they took Monster out. Obviously, he got green lighted for that, right? But what about his celly? See, in prison, in California at least, you're supposed to fight till you die. If you're Mexican, the fact that he screamed for help was a problem for him. And this is something you guys that have never been to prison need to understand. There's no compassion. Oh, he was trying to rape you? Well, kill him then. But why are you calling the cops? That's a harsh reality, right? This dude was probably twice his size. Monster was probably twice that individual's size. He was supposed to die rather than yell for help, right? See, out here, to a normal mind, you're like, no way. Like, how does that work? Normal minds aren't what keep you alive in prison. Therefore, stay your ass out of jail. That's my story for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them. One more thing before I go. Those of you that are subscribed to the channel, please do me a favor. Hit your subscribe button. Check your notifications. If it's on personalized, take it off of personalized and click all. If you put it on personalized, you will get 1 out of every 10 notifications probably. With that, once again, because you can never say it enough, stay safe, stay smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them. I'm on.